Good morning, everyone. My name is Indhyra Dewi, and I am from the SMK 58 Jakarta. And today, we're going to talk about the debate motion about this House belief that environmental movement should launch violence campaigns against major polluting companies. And in this motion, I make the three keywords. The first is environmental movement, violent campaigns, and the major polluters. Okay, we can just move to the next point. I'm making about the 3 points about this motion. The first is moral urgency or the last resort. You see, in this environment, all of the communities and the civilians is trying to making the protest with the peace movement. So there is no one could be getting harmed from their protesting. But we see the real results in the real life. This peaceful this peaceful this peaceful the as people critics is doesn't making the good results. All of the companies they are getting criticized, they getting boycotts, it's still making about the bad things. So we see the peace is not always the good things to do. So why we all agree that the violence is the only last resort, because when someone is trying so hard to making everything as peaceful as they can, but they didn't making any differences and didn't do anything about the effect they making, it's getting exhausting. So people is really trying to doing all the last resort, and that is doing the violence. Okay, the second is about the effectivity. We see when the people is trying to making boycott or maybe trying to putting the petition about to trying to stop supporting or buying about the products that the polluting brand trying to make, it's all making the people is trying to understand, oh, that's right. If they all of we all do is trying to making the peace, but they didn't do anything, we didn't have anything to do more. So all we can do is trying to boycott, trying to making the petition to stop producing about the product that the brand making. And it making all of civilians and making the media that see that finally realize that we all is in the age of the last resort.
Ini catatan saya.
Okay, the last is the failure of intuition and corporate impunity. You see, even though we're trying so hard to making about the critics or maybe trying to boycott, there is nothing that happening because all those company is literally trying to protect themselves by saying this is by the law. The law is allowing us to do this, the law is allowing us to do that. Well, we cannot do anything about that. So the only thing that we can make is actually trying to financing their own company. We didn't doing this violence, and I did not agree if someone is using this violence as the reason there is literally the harming the civilians or the co-workers of that brand, because those people is just actually working, just trying to providing their life. So in my opinion and from others that I see, we all should just harm about the company properties. We doesn't have right to making the people that working in that brand is also getting the harm we trying to make into the brand, because the problem is actually the company. They are doing the pollution to our ecosystem. They making our human is suffering from that. You see, like the carbon, all the poisonous air. That's a problem. We doesn't have a right to really harming the people that working just that. All they do is just trying to making their life. They didn't have any idea that is actually harming the people. Okay, that's all the 3 points that I make. And in my also opinion is maybe many of people is literally saying like you cannot do that. The harm is literally going to making the civilians is also getting the harm. That is valid risks. We cannot just doing all those violence just because we are angry, just because we are like you literally poison us, and you just because you're working in this brand you also getting into this trouble. No, that is not true. Okay, and the second that people is maybe going to criticize is the violence we do is maybe doing and affecting the law. It's actually not right. The laws is actually just going to be getting reworked or maybe getting affecting us by the violence that really big and really trying to almost maybe killing the people that working in the companies. As long as it didn't affecting about the civilians, they not going to do anything. They just going to like, oh, maybe they just mad, maybe they just blah blah blah, blah or something, and that is not the thing that I really like. Okay, that's all of the debate that I can do. I'm sorry about my English; it's not really that good. So thank you so much for hearing my debate. Maybe you all that out there having a more opinion about this pro question about this debate. Thank you so much.